From CBS Atlanta, WGNX-46. This is CBS Atlanta News at 6.
Tonight, keeping a closer eye on hate groups as we learn new details about the gunman who attacked a Jewish community center in Los Angeles. Good evening. Karen's off tonight. I'm John McKnight.
And I'm Mike Stevens. Investigators now say they're convinced it was hate that drove shooting suspect Buford Furrow on his rampage on Tuesday. Authorities say the white supremacist has now confessed to killing a Filipino-American postal worker. His reason? He was non-white. He also says he worked for the federal government, and he was, in Furrow's words, a good target of opportunity. Furrow has also reportedly admitted to shooting the children because he, quote, wanted this to be a wake-up call to Americans to kill Jews.
As the birthplace of the modern Ku Klux Klan, Georgia is no stranger to hate groups. At least 20 hate groups are believed to be active here, many of them with ties to Christian identity. That's the so-called religion reportedly subscribed to by L.A. shooting suspect Buford Furrow and by Eric Rudolph, the suspected Olympic serial bomber. CBS Atlanta News reporter Lee Green has more.
White, which represents Klan. The blue represents neo-Nazi groups. The yellow pins are indications of where a hate crime was committed.
They are just pins on a map, but behind each one is hatred.
We have documented within 2 months' time 401 incidents in Georgia from that time, and that is hate crimes, hate activity, as well as hate groups.
This is the book subscribed to by many hate groups, the book found in Buford Furrow's van after he allegedly shot up that Jewish daycare center in L.A.
The Christian identity, we know that there are some congregations in the metro area, in Lawrenceville, as well as in Marietta.
In Georgia, we have the Klan, of course, but we also have militias, churches, and so-called citizens' councils dedicated to the proposition that we are not created equal. The Southern Poverty Law Center in Birmingham lists 20 such groups in Georgia. The Center for Democratic Renewal in Atlanta lists others.
As a reporter covering Georgia for more than 15 years, I have my own not inconsiderable file of hate groups operating here. Everything from invitations to cross burnings to white supremacist publications. But for a truly depressing look at the sheer volume of these groups, try the net.
There's an alphabetical list of various hate groups, everything from white Christian nationalist to anti-gay, hunky hacker, I'm not even sure what that is.
We got our webmaster to see what's out there. There's a lot, including the Christian Identity Group section on children's books, books they hope will promote their white supremacist viewpoint.
Now, those in the business of tracking these things warn us to expect activity from hate groups to coincide with the millennium. They fear that this significant date could trigger all sorts of trouble. John?
Lee, it seems an obvious question, but maybe it isn't so obvious. What exactly are the goals of these hate groups?
Well, hard to say. With some of them, many advocate a separate existence, but for many, the end game is nothing less than the eradication of all black people, all Jewish people, in fact, anyone they don't like.
All right, thank you, Lee. For more information on hate groups in Georgia, log on to our website at cbsatlanta.com.
Now, what would make a person hate so much? They'd target a daycare center with innocent little kids. We may never know the full answer to that, but we are learning more about preventing similar attacks. Tonight, CBS Atlanta News reporter Tiffany Diaz shows us how some daycare centers are tightening security.
As parents, we want to think our kids are safe. When we drop them off at daycare. Scenes like this from California are making many take a closer look at security.
You should never not think it could happen to you. It should always be prime. First thing is the safety of the children.
By state law, daycare centers must perform criminal background checks on all of their employees and keep a list of all of those people you'll allow to pick up your child. But there is nothing that requires these places which care for our kids to either lock their doors or in any way control access to their buildings. New mom Nadia Kaiser checked out numerous centers, looking for the one which would best protect her baby.
Sometimes it seems like it's kind of slim pickings.
What Nadia found is that at many places, an intruder doesn't meet the first line of defense until she's in the midst of our kids. Some places are now locking their doors, letting only familiar faces in, and others are keeping a close watch via cameras.
We at first just had the intercom button, and you could just hear the parents, but we decided that it would be better if we could actually see them also.
Experts say for now the burden is on parents to scrutinize security. That could change, though, as concerns over daycare violence escalate. Tiffany Diaz, CBS Atlanta News.
The State Department of Human Resources, which regulates daycare facilities, will soon begin a review of security policies.
It seems as if this summer heat wave is here to stay. Today's high temperature tied a record. The sweltering conditions are making outdoor work very difficult. Temperatures have been in the 90s for 22 of the last 24 days. Meteorologist John Weatherby joins us now with a closer look at the scorching temperatures.
John, we know how it felt. How hot did it really get?
You want to know how hot it really got today? How about this? 98 degrees, a record-tying 98, tying a record in 1957, and the heat index made it up to 104 degrees. And still at the 6 o'clock hour, temperatures are very warm around town. 95 Gainesville, Snellville 98, McDonough 96, Austell 98 degrees, Kennesaw 96, 98 at Rome. Let's see if the computer has updated the numbers from a 6 o'clock hour, and here you go. 97 is our current temperature in Atlanta, 96 in Macon, 98 with a thunderstorm close at hand in Columbus. It feels like 111. 113 is the heat index in Macon. These hot temperatures are going to stay, but I've got some relief. I'll show it to you in the 7-day planner coming up, Mike.
Can't wait for that one, John. Thank you. Now, the hot weather is causing more than just discomfort across the country. At least 19 children have died this summer after getting trapped inside hot cars. CBS Atlanta health reporter April Nelson is outside right now to help us understand just how quickly heat can kill. April.
Well, Mike, some parents think nothing of going to the bank, running in, or running into a department store, leaving the kids in the back seat. After all, it'll only take a minute to run in, right? Well, that's all the time it takes for your child to die in your back seat in heat like this. Today, a young man volunteered to help us demonstrate this point to parents. To see how long he could stand the heat, 15-year-old Omari Carmichael sat in this hot car. His wave is a signal that he can't stand it any longer. Okay, you've been in here for 3 minutes already. How are you feeling?
Hot and exhausted.
You're dripping with sweat. Temperature inside the car, 104 degrees. It reached that in less than 20 minutes, up from 75 degrees, and the car was parked in the shade. Dr. Stephen Carmichael says if Omari had stayed inside a couple of minutes longer, he would have slipped into heat stroke.
At this point, the child becomes disoriented, lethargic, and the body organs start to fail. The brain starts to fry, the liver starts to fry, the kidneys don't work well, the heart does not work well.
But some parents don't seem to understand that vehicles can become death traps when children are left alone in the heat. Babies in car seats are especially vulnerable.
With this cloth seat, the vinyl plastic seat that is around the child, it restricts the air movement and it tends to hold the heat right here within the child.
According to a survey by the National Safe Kids campaign, 10% of parents believe that children can be left unattended in a car. That number increased to 20% when parents age 18 to 24 were surveyed. But Janine Purvis says it's not always parents who leave kids in the car.
The child like, Mom, I don't want to get out. How long are we going to be here? Is this going to take long? Well, I'll just sit here.
After his sweltering experience today, Omari Carmichael says no thanks to that.
It was hot. I almost fainted because I was so dizzy.
Well, Mike, in heat like this, parents have to tell their kids there will be a compromise. And the compromise is come inside with me into the department store or the grocery store. Let them sit on a bench. That way they're in a cool place while you shop and you can prevent a tragedy. Reporting live from Northeast Atlanta, April Nelson, CBS Atlanta News.
Certainly better not to take any chances with heat like this, April.
That's right. Put your foot down.
That's right. Thank you very much. We should mention the Georgia Power reports electric power demands reached an all-time peak yesterday across the southeast because of the heat. Now, as we've been telling you, this summer's drought is causing lots of water restrictions for communities all over Georgia. Here's the latest. They're in Bremen in Haralson County and also Winder in Barrow County. Lawn sprinkling, car washing, garden watering are now illegal. For the first offense, a warning, and each additional offense, fines can be as high as $1,000.
For years, neighbors in a Northeast Atlanta neighborhood have complained about a dangerous intersection. Tonight, a CBS Atlanta News investigation indicates they have reason to be worried. It's at the intersection of Glenwood Avenue and Bernice. At least 7 people have been killed there since 1994, including 3 people who died 2 weeks ago today. CBS Atlanta's Ray Matoyer has the story.
Cars rush past a small memorial at the intersection of Bernice and Glenwood Avenue.
3 people died here 2 weeks ago when their car was rear-ended while making a left turn. Glenwood is a state highway that goes through a residential area. The speed limit is 40, but as we drove here, most people passed us going much faster.
Usually 60 miles an hour and very heavy.
Would you say it's dangerous?
It's very dangerous.
Felicia Dunn knows the danger firsthand. Her daughter Malika and nephew Christopher were killed in that crash 2 weeks ago. Her sister Michelle Moss, who was pregnant, died after giving birth to a little girl, Christy. That infant remains in critical condition at Grady Hospital. Willie and Felicia Dunn now focus on their son Brandon, who survived the wreck. As he clings to life in the hospital, the Dunns say this tragedy could have been avoided if someone had just listened to the neighbors' complaints about the danger.
It makes you very angry. There's lives like that you never even had to have or come to that.
But tonight, Felicia Dunn is just as angry at the drivers who continue to speed on Glenwood.
To know that people don't take any more caution than what they do, that angers me more than the city not having sense enough to recognize that a light or a turning lane needs to be there.
Now, we've also learned that there have been more than 100 accidents on that half-mile stretch of Glenwood since 1994. And based on our story, the City of Atlanta now says that a new traffic study on Glenwood is a top priority. They hope to have an answer about either a stoplight or another traffic solution within 30 days. John?
Thank you, Ray. If you think you live near a dangerous intersection and you want a stoplight, there are some steps you can take. You should send a certified letter to the City Traffic and Engineering Department. Tell them exactly where the intersection is, include cross streets. The traffic engineer will then do a study of the road, including a car count. If the study supports your request, a traffic light could be installed, but it will take 3 to 5 months.
Also tonight, a 4-year-old boy is recovering after being attacked by a Rottweiler. It happened yesterday near Ellenwood in Clayton County. Police say Khalif Nagasi wandered too close to the chained dog at his babysitter's house. Tonight, the child is in critical but stable condition. Now, stories like that one have to make you wonder if there's anything you can do if your neighbor has a dangerous dog. Tonight, CBS Atlanta News reporter Lou Anzadano tells us how you can protect yourself against a dog that's causing a nuisance in the neighborhood.
Some Rottweilers and Pit Bulls are among the so-called fighting breeds, the kind of dogs that sometimes attack and sometimes scare a lot of people.
I feel nervous about it because my kids play in that. I'm not only my child, but there are a lot of kids in this neighborhood that play. And you have to be very cautious.
You shouldn't be afraid to do something to protect you and your family if you live near a potentially dangerous dog. First, check your county laws. Most require confining dogs outside with a fence, chain, or cable. If the dog's not secure or if it's causing a nuisance, like constant barking, or somehow interfering with your property, call your animal control officer. O.J. McClure, like many homeowners, didn't know about the nuisance law. If found in violation, an animal control officer can issue the dog owner a citation and a fine up to $500. If another dog attacks your dog or a family member, an animal control officer will quarantine the dog for 10 days, review the case, and if it's not found to have rabies, may declare it a dangerous dog. If you're successful in having your neighbor's dog declared dangerous, remember, it must be secured in an escape-proof pen like this one. Outside the pen, there must be signs indicating there's a dangerous dog, signs like these, 4 of them. Animal control experts say the best protection is to learn the neighborhood dog's behavior patterns and talk to your neighbor about his pet. As silly as that may sound, it could save you from a confrontation with the dog and your neighbor. Lou Anzadano, CBS Atlanta News.
A dog tied up outside like that is hardly reassuring. They often will get away from those cables.
Nothing to play around with.
No. Next on CBS Atlanta News, a wounded survivor of the Buckhead shooting rampage speaks out as he prepares to go home from the hospital.
And also a renewed debate tonight over whether the Bible should be part of your child's history class at school. Some good news. One of the Buckhead shooting survivors is just about ready to go home tonight. Brent Doonan gave a thumbs up at Northside Hospital this afternoon. 2 weeks ago today, he was shot 5 times during Mark Barton's shooting rampage. He thanks everybody for their prayers tonight, and he looks forward to a full recovery.
I'm going to make a lot better choices, I think. I think I've used up 5 of my lives all in one quick swoop, so I think mentally I'm great. You know, for what I've gone through, I'm ready to move on with my life. I'm ready to move forward with my career.
And after he's released tomorrow, Duden says he'll spend a few weeks in Kansas with his parents, then get back to work.
A decades-old dispute over putting religion in public schools is being waged once again, this time in our own backyard in Georgia. But the hot topic was tabled at today's State Board of Education meeting. Even as the line between church and state is being blurred, some parents and students say it might be one solution to curbing school violence. CBS Atlanta News reporter Letitia Mile has the story.
No doubt. As long as one's not being indoctrinated into anything, then there's no harm in that.
It's a hot topic.
Until we give our schools back to God, our schools are in trouble.
Recent outbreaks of school violence find some parents and students willing to call on God in class for answers.
Years ago, we kicked God out of school. We don't have much protection in our school anymore until we invite him back in through the front door.
At Atlanta's private Masters Christian Academy.
Well, as a minister, obviously, I would love to see young people everywhere learn about the Bible.
Bible teacher Keith Harris, who sees the benefits of religion with his students, still questions whether a similar course should be taught in public schools.
It would be very difficult for any teacher, regardless of what their doctrine is, regardless of what their core beliefs are, I think, to teach a course strictly as history. In all likelihood, some of what they taught would have a bend toward doctrine and toward doctrinal beliefs.
Concerns that teachers would cross the line from teaching history to teaching theology is the main reason judges in other states rule against the idea.
It's just history. I mean, it's just like people see like how the dinosaurs died. I mean, nobody really knows. It's really just a theory, and that's sort of like what the Bible is. I mean, nobody's positive what happened.
Before the board makes its decision, Georgia's Attorney General will review the case to determine whether allowing the Bible is constitutional. If schools that include it, they'll get those curriculums funded by the state at the cost of $350 per student per year. John?
Thank you, Letitia. For the most part, parents weighing in on the subject to the State Board of Education favor a Bible course. 3,500 agree with the idea, 33 against it. If you want the State Board of Education to know how you feel, call 404-656-4689.
All right, so should the Bible be taught as history in Georgia public schools? That is the question we asked 500 Metro Atlantans today in our CBS Atlanta News Flash Poll. 7 out of 10 adults we surveyed support teaching the Bible as part of the history curriculum. 1/4 of those in our poll disagreed with the idea. 4% are undecided. And we should mention race and gender made little difference in people's response to this particular question.
Next on CBS Atlanta News at 6, John Weatherby returns with a complete weather outlook. Stay with us. We keep waiting for some relief from the heat, but it only gets worse. 98 degrees today.
Well, we had a 99 earlier in the summer, so this wasn't the hottest day of the summer.
Oh, that makes me feel a lot better.
That doesn't help you a bit, does it? But 98 was a record-tying high for today. The heat indexes are creeping up near that dangerous level. Our evening forecast, there is some thunder, particularly west of town, like west of I-75, that may cool you off just a bit from the record heat and humidity. 84 will be our 11 o'clock temperature, but still here at 6 o'clock, we're at 97 degrees. Relative humidity 39%, northwest breeze at 9. Our barometric pressure is steady. 98, the record higher from 1957, and 79 the morning low, and the heat index is at 104. Our color enhancement gives us a real good picture of those storms that are firing up basically through Alabama into Tennessee. There's a little trough of low pressure right about here, and watch these storms just, boom, fire right up along that little trough. Now that's going to happen tomorrow a little closer to us, so we may see some shower activity in our, say, western suburbs, but most of the action's over here in Alabama and downstate. Some of these cells have gone severe in the last half hour as well. In fact, from the closest view of all, little action just west of Rome. There was another shower over Bartow County fading out, and south of LaGrange, and that's about it for us for tonight. So you may get some relief, but don't count on it. We'll still put it in the forecast. Evening isolated storms should be ending. 76 is all we'll do for an overnight low. Then tomorrow, repeat performance, hazy, hot, and humid. Heat index is up to 105, but we will add isolated thunderstorms for most people, a 30% chance. And that isolated chance will be there for Saturday as well. Saturday's high 93. Okay, you want a little relief? Some isolated storms, and maybe only 90 on Sunday before it starts warming up again. Well, I was looking for a little relief. Have a nice, safe evening, please.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, John. All right, coming up later on CBS Atlanta News, a Georgia dentist gives new meaning to the term open wide. Stay with us. All right, time now for Steve Taylor in sports. Golf's final major tournament's underway.
That's where Mark Harmon is. Took his golf clubs, went to Illinois. Whether he can get by security or not, that's the biggest challenge. Unlike the first three majors of the season in the man versus golf course confrontation, man's faring pretty well at the PGA Championship. There is a four-way tie for the lead at 4 under par. Sergio Garcia, the Spanish teenager, is one of them. He is still on the course. Gets this one close enough for the tap-in birdie. Also at the top of the leaderboard, Scott Hoke rolling in the long birdie putts. And I still say Hoke and the adult Jerry Mathers, the Beaver, could be twins. On the leaderboard, here's the group at the top. Jay Haas, a couple of unknowns there. J.P. Hayes and Mike Weir, along with Garcia and Stuart Sink, the former Georgia Tech stars, at 3 under. Tiger Woods, David Duval, both 2 under 70 today. In Greenville this afternoon, Jamal Anderson back on the practice field. He will not play tomorrow night against the Lions. And the first day of practice at Georgia Tech today. Here's one of the Jackets' home run threats this season. Split end Des Weiss, one of 15 returning starters from a 10-2 team. Des says Tech might have only one problem early in the season.
Overconfidence, hoping that we don't go into the games overconfident, thinking that we're, a super unbeatable team. We'll have to go into every game knowing that there's a possibility for us to lose.
Des White, the Braves have the night off. They are in Los Angeles tomorrow night to open a 3-game series with the Dodgers. And as well as they've been playing lately, they're still only tied for first in the National League East. That's because the Mets keep right on winning. This afternoon, a bases-loaded double for Mets pitcher Al Leiter. And the Mets down the Padres today, 9-3. And for our tailor-made moment of sports, back to the PGA tournament. Steve Stricker on the 8th hole. You can't see him, but he's back there where they filmed the Blair Witch Project. Can he get out alive? Yes. Can he get the ball close to the pin? Better than close. Into the cup, and a birdie for Steve Stricker. They make it look so easy, don't they?
He must have had some supernatural help.
Yes, that's possible.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Just ahead on CBS Atlanta News. The sun gave me the power, for I can swing like Loman and be home in half an hour. A dentist who uses his voice to relax his patients.
Stay tuned. Tuned, that is. Did you get that? Coming up tonight, new at 11 on CBS Atlanta News. We're all having a tough time beating the heat, but imagine being stranded on the highway in these high temperatures. Well, don't sweat it. There are heroes who can help. Plus, some tips on how to avoid getting stranded at 11.
Finally, people in eastern Georgia have a dentist with a special talent. When I look into your eyes. Wilkes County dentist Eric Pagan soothes his patients' fears by singing. He's been doing it for 3 years now. His patients say it's more enjoyable listening to him sing than listening to the drill motor. Dr. Pagan has also released a CD called 7.
Listen, I don't care if you sing like Whitney Houston. You put that drill in your mouth.
Yeah, you're going to know it's there.
That is CBS Atlanta News for tonight. Thank you for making us your choice for News at 6. I'm Mike Stevens.
I'm John McKnight. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather is next. We'll see you back here at 11.